We're analyzing a forecast for Scorpios or, anyone with major Scorpio placements. But the thing that struck me about this source material wasn't just the predictions.
What was it?
It was the immediate contradiction, the tone. Usually a forecast has one vibe, right? It's a warning or it's a celebration.
Sure.
This one is somehow both at the exact same time.
It starts with a sound, right?
Yeah, a really specific one.
The source describes the reader picking up these guide chimes, the instruments for sound healing. She gives them a tap, and before a single card is even flipped, she gets a frequency. Not a musical tone, but a phrase.
And that phrase is, make it rain.
Which is not subtle.
About as subtle as a sledgehammer. I mean, in our culture, make it rain is not about the weather.
No.
It is explicitly about aggressive financial abundance. So it sets this incredibly high expectation right out of the gate. If you're the listener, you hear that and you're thinking, okay, great, I've made it. Where's the cash?
Exactly. It's the perfect hook. But, and this is where we really have to dig in, the source material immediately pivots from that high-energy promise to the on-the-ground reality of mid-February 2026.
And that reality is not someone standing under a shower of money?
Not at all. It's someone who is absolutely grinding.
Muddled is the specific word the reading uses. The source describes a situation where you've got your fingers in too many pies.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean you're disorganized. Actually, the reading suggests you're hyper-organized. But you are stretched so thin.
Exhausted.
Totally exhausted. So the mission for this deep dive is to figure out how to bridge that gap. How do you get from the muddled, exhausted grind of February to that make it rain moment that's promised for March?
Because there is a very specific tactical roadmap in here. We're not just talking about vague manifesting.
No, this is about navigating job offers, dealing with toxic coworkers.
And managing burnout. So let's start with the current state. The source paints this picture using two very, very different tarot cards. The Sun and the Five of Pentacles.
Which is a jarring combination for anyone who knows tarot. I mean, you have the Sun, which is arguably the best card in the entire deck.
Right.
Sitting right next to the Five of Pentacles, which is often seen as one of the most difficult.
Let's unpack the Sun first, because externally, on the surface, things look good.
Externally, yes. The Sun is all about visibility, vitality, success. In this context, Baba Jolie interprets it as you being in the spotlight.
You're promoting your...
You're being seen.
Yeah.
The visualization she uses is building a brick wall. You are laying bricks one by one, building this fortress, a legacy.
So it's not a gig, this is a career foundation.
Exactly. You're creating something solid that just can't be knocked over.
So if I'm the listener, my LinkedIn looks great, my projects are moving, I'm building this wall, but then we have the Five of Pentacles.
Right. And while the Sun is your public face, the Five of Pentacles is your internal reality. Traditionally, this card shows two figures walking in the snow outside a church window.
They're out in the cold.
They are out in the cold. It represents hardship, lack, or what the source calls poverty consciousness.
Poverty consciousness is a heavy term. How does that fit if I'm literally the Sun?
It creates a paradox. The source explains that while you're building this empire, you are personally drained. You're burning the candle at both ends.
And financially.
Financially, there is a distinct pinch. You might be reinvesting every single penny back into the business to buy those bricks for the wall, which leaves your personal cash flow really, really tight.
The phrase holding onto the purse strings came up in the notes.
Exactly. It's that specific anxiety of, I'm doing all this work, I'm building this massive thing, but I still feel like I'm scraping by right now.
It's a temporary poverty.
It's a temporary poverty. You aren't actually broke. Your asset value is growing, but it feels restrictive. You feel like you're only halfway there.
And that feeling of being halfway, that's dangerous, because when you feel halfway and you feel that pinch, you get desperate for a quick fix.
And that desperation leads us straight to the central conflict of this entire reading, the fork in the road.
This is the most actionable part of the source material. I mean, if you take nothing else away from this deep dive, you have to pay attention to this timeline.
Absolutely. The cards predict that in late February 2026, maybe very early March, you're going to be presented with a choice. Two very distinct paths.
Okay, let's map out option A. The source calls this the stopgap.
Right, because you're feeling that Five of Pentacles pinch. The universe sends you what looks like a life raft.
A life raft.
This appears as a temporary role, a freelance contract, maybe a quick job offer. The key is that it's available immediately.
And the temptation is obvious. You're tired, cash is tight, and here's money on the table. But the warning from the source was incredibly specific about this option.
It was blunt. The reading suggests that if you take this stopgap role, you will almost immediately regret it.
Really?
It's described as unexciting. It's a grind. And most importantly, the financial yield is low. It fixes the immediate panic, puts a little cash in your pocket, but it doesn't solve the long-term problem.
It just adds another finger in the pie.
To your already muddled schedule, exactly.
The source actually said you might find yourself walking away from it pretty quickly, just realizing, I can't do this. It's like a Band-Aid that just falls right off.
Which brings us to option B, the big win. But here's the problem. Option B is in what the reader calls the resistance position.
I wanted to ask you about that term. What does resistance position mean in a practical sense? Is it something I'm resisting?
In this specific layout, it refers to an energy that's just blocked or delayed by time. It hasn't landed in your reality yet.
So it's the future.
It's the card of the future, specifically mid-March or later. And because it's not visible right now, it creates anxiety. You can't see it, so you don't trust it. You're staring at the stopgap, which is real.
Versus the big win, which feels kind of hypothetical.
But the description of this second option, the hypothetical one, is wild. We're not talking about a small improvement over the stopgap.
No, we're talking about a different stratosphere entirely.
The source explicitly says that this second opportunity, the one you have to wait for, pays nearly double what the previous role offered.
Double. That's a metric you just can't ignore.
And it's not just the money. It's paired with the Ten of Pentacles. In tarot, the Ten of Pentacles is the ultimate card of material success. It's not just payday.
It's wealth.
It's wealth. It represents family legacy, long-term stability, abundance that lasts. And it's also linked to the Fool card here, which signifies a fresh, exciting new adventure.
So the trade-off is this. You can have a mediocre, low-paying job now or a high-paying legacy-building career later.
It's the classic marshmallow test.
It is. Can you stare at that one marshmallow, the stopgap, and not eat it so you can get the 2 marshmallows later?
Precisely. And the source acknowledges how hard that is when you're in the pinch. That's why the Two of Wands appears in the reading. That card is all about creative planning.
Oh.
It's the energy of standing on the castle wall, looking at the horizon, holding a globe in your hand.
So it's active waiting, not passive.
Yes. The advice is to use this waiting period, this gap between February and mid-March, to plan, not to panic.
Because if you fill your schedule with the low-paying work,
You literally won't have the bandwidth to accept the double pay offer when it finally arrives. You'll be too busy grinding for pennies to pick up the gold bars.
so the strategy is hold the line.
Hold the line. Trust that the rain is coming, even if you're in a drought right now.
Okay, so while you're holding that line, you are still going to the office or, logging into Slack. And the source suggests that the current workplace, the one you're in now, is going through a massive detox. We have to talk about the appearance of the death card.
It's one of the most misunderstood cards in the deck. People see the skeleton and the size and they freak out.
Sure.
But in a career reading, the death card is almost always a net positive. It signifies transformation, the end of a cycle that has outlived its usefulness.
It's not about dying, it's about molting.
That's a perfect way to put it, molting.
And in this case, the molting involves a specific person. The source predicts a redundancy or a firing, right?
Yes, and it's quite pointed. The reading suggests a shakeup is coming to your team. Specifically, it plays to a person who is not pulling their weight.
So a toxic manager, maybe?
Could be a toxic manager, a coasting colleague, someone who just creates bottlenecks. The prediction is they're going to be moved on.
Usually layoffs create fear, am I next? But the spin here was different.
Completely different. The source describes this as clearing out the dead wood. It creates a vacuum that fresh air just rushes into.
And once this person leaves,
the dynamic shifts instantly. The remaining team has more fun. Ideas that were blocked before are suddenly taken seriously.
there was an interesting note about the person leaving, too, that it's actually good for them.
Right. It's framed as a kick they needed. They were stuck in a rut, unhappy, and couldn't leave on their own. So the universe pushes them out so they can find their own path.
So if you see empty desks in February 2026,
The advice is, don't mourn. It's part of the process of making room for that sun energy to really shine.
however, even with the toxic person gone, it's not all smooth sailing. The reading flags power struggles.
And this ties back to that concept of building your brick wall. As you become more successful and more visible, the sun you naturally attract friction. People challenge you.
And the advice here,
It's very specific. Avoid yes people.
Which is counterintuitive. I mean, when we're tired and muddled, we want yes people.
Of course.
We want people to just agree so we can go home.
That's the trap. The source warns that to reach that Ten of Pentacles level, that legacy wealth, you need friction. You need to break eggs to make an omelet.
So a challenging conversation might feel like a conflict.
But it's actually a necessary synthesis. You need someone to poke holes in your plan so you can patch them.
So if you find yourself butting heads with someone in late February, don't retreat.
Don't retreat and don't take it personally. See it as stress testing your brick wall. If your ideas can't survive a debate, they probably aren't ready for the market.
Moving on to another major theme, the past. It seems like you can't quite escape yesterday just yet. The phrase, the past circles back, appeared multiple times.
It did, but in a profitable way. This isn't about an ex-partner showing up to ruin your day.
Thank goodness.
This is about harvesting. The source mentions things like residuals, royalties, or rebates.
Money you've already earned but just haven't received yet.
Exactly. Or work you did 3 years ago that suddenly pays a dividend.
Yeah.
It also mentions old connections. Because you're shining with that sun energy, people from your past industries are seeing you. You might get that call.
Hey, I remember you from X project. Are you available?
That's the one.
And this connects to the unfinished business aspect. The reading mentions you might be finishing a pièce de résistance or an opus.
This is the death card in the resistance position, meaning the ending is coming, but it's dragging out. You might be writing a book, finishing a certification.
Closing a massive project.
Right. And the advice here is crucial. Do not rush the ending.
Why not? If I'm tired, I just want to be done with it.
Because this is your signature work. If you rush the last 10%, you risk ruining the 90% you've already built. The source says it'll be ready when it's ready.
It's all about patience.
Patience for the money, patience for the project. Quality takes time.
Now, we have to address the physical reality of all this. We've talked about the mental grind, but the source was very insistent on the woo and wellness aspects.
It was. The reader actually broke the fourth wall a bit here, talking about her own knees aching during the reading.
She did.
She interpreted this as a somatic signal for you, the listener.
He's complaining. That's oddly specific.
It is, but it's symbolic of the burden you're carrying. You're carrying the weight of this new career structure you're building. The advice is really practical. If you lift things, lift correctly. If you sit at a desk all day, fix your ergonomics.
Because the Five of Pentacles, exhaustion.
It can manifest as a physical injury if you ignore it, and you can't enjoy the double pay if your back gives out the week you get the offer.
There was also a lighter, quirkier detail about office perks. Fruit baskets.
Chuckles. Yes. It's such a small, mundane detail, but it's symbolically important. The reader saw visions of fruit baskets returning to the office or like gym memberships being offered.
It sounds kind of trivial.
It does, but think about what it represents. During the pinch, companies cut perks. The return of the fruit basket is a signal that the tide is turning. Resources are flowing back in.
It's a canary in a coal mine.
But for abundance.
Yeah.
If you see an apple in the break room, take it as a sign that the make it rain phase is beginning.
I want to touch on the global aspect before we get to the really specific visual symbols. The World card made an appearance.
This is for the dreamers. The World card is the final card of the major arcana. It represents completion, global travel. For you, this manifests as a desire for a more nomadic lifestyle.
The digital nomad life.
Exactly. The source links this to that Two of Wands planning phase. You might be sitting at your desk in February, Googling tax laws in Portugal or looking at Airbnbs in Bali.
It's about freedom from structure.
Yes. And while you might not be able to leave tomorrow, the planning you do now is valid. It's part of the new sun reality you are building for yourself.
Okay, let's get to the Easter eggs. These are the specific visual symbols the reader saw. We list these so you can validate the reading. If you see these things in February or March 2026, pay attention.
Okay.
First up, 3 cherries.
Classic slot machine imagery. The reader visualized 3 cherries just lining up. It implies a sweet reward or a distinct stroke of luck.
Not the lottery necessarily.
Not necessarily winning the lottery, but a moment where things just click.
Next up, grapes.
Specifically, grapes being crushed. The phrase was, crush some grapes to make wine. This validates the pressure you're feeling, the grind, the exhaustion. That's the crushing process.
So you're not being destroyed.
You're being processed into something more valuable. Wine is worth more than grapes.
That's a great reframe. Then we have the letter D.
A visual hallucination of the letter D. The source speculated. Maybe it's delivery, maybe a name like David or Diana, maybe a product code. But it was distinct, so if the letter D keeps popping up, take note.
And finally, the most bizarre image of the bunch, amber nectar.
This was the one the reader hesitated to share because the card image is, well, provocative.
It is.
It depicted a figure suckling from amber nectar,
Which is vivid.
to say the least. But we have to look past the shock value to the meaning. It wasn't about gluttony. It was about resourcefulness. The interpretation is about using your savvy to extract nourishment from your environment.
Using savvy to get ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very Scorpio. It's about being smart enough to find the sweetness, the value hidden in a situation that others might miss. It's about getting what you need to survive and thrive, even if you have to be a little unconventional to get it.
So let's pull all this together. What is the narrative arc for you, the listener, in early 2026?
It's a journey from paradox to payoff. You start in February. You are the sun visible, successful, but you're living in the 5 of Pentacles, tired, broke, grinding.
Then you hit a fork in the road, a stopgap offer appears. It's tempting, but it is a trap.
And you have to use your 2 of Wands discipline to wait. You decline the stopgap. You survive the office shakeup, watching the toxic deadwood leave.
You engage in the power struggles.
Without being a yes person.
And then?
Then mid-March hits. The resistance position clears. The second offer lands. It pays double. It's a healthy environment. 10 of Pentacles. You've successfully held the line.
It's a test of nerve, really.
It is. Most people fail this test. Most people take the stopgap because the anxiety of the pinch is just too high. This reading is essentially permission to wait.
That's a powerful idea.
It's assurance that the clouds are heavy and they will break, but you can't force it to rain today.
Permission to wait. That is rare career advice.
It is, but in this specific case, it's the difference between surviving and thriving.
I want to leave the listener with a final thought. We talked about the power struggle and the yes people.
I've been thinking about that. We usually view yes people as the enemy, the sycophants around us. But I want to turn the mirror around.
Go for it.
In your professional life, are you the yes person? Are you agreeing with a client, a boss, or maybe even your own fears just to keep the peace?
Oh.
And is that lack of friction actually what is delaying your double pay reality?
That's a tough question.
It is. Sometimes the wealth you're waiting for is sitting on the other side of a difficult conversation that you are too afraid to have. You might be the blockage.
Are you the blockage? That is definitely something to chew on as you navigate 2026. That's it for this deep dive. Good luck with the Make It Rain moment.
See you next time.